Okay, so we are on time. Let me kick this off. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all here for our latest Sitecore user group Jaipur meetup today. So we are excited and honored to have Joel Raj with us. He's working as a senior solution architect at Horizontal Digital, and he's also a Sitecore technology MVP. In today's session, we are hoping to learn more about Sitecore search in more detail, along with the crawler and the API details. So I would like to hand over the session to Nielsen, and you may begin your presentation.
Share my screen. Yeah. I hope everyone can see my screen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Uh, Before getting started, um, really happy to be presenting the session in Jaipur. Okay, so let's try to something from of us, like from your side and myself. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so for getting started, as discussed, like I'm Nelson. I'm senior solution architect from. This is some of my LinkedIn and okay.
Nielsen, still your voice is coming low, so you need to keep your mic very near to your mouth.
Yeah, yeah, okay. This is happening. Oh, okay. The agenda for this session is basically like I know like most other people now already started working with CEC, which is in which we initially started with Discover, and it's now in CEC in search as well. So now we'll see how CEC again one more time. So with some basic understanding of how that is we gonna configure and everything, and like how we gonna create and documents for that. What are the relevant fields that need to be created? So what is the process to take care? Widget configurations and global widget configuration as well. And again, like sources like how different kinds of sources like JSON, XML, SOAP response, and RSS feeds and different data sources. Okay, how we gonna crawl the information from them. And if you have time, we can explore like API Explorer. Like again, it's basically the same. Like if you have any the widgets created or the pages created, it will automatically give you the details of the uh, request parameters and response parameters. So exactly that is how it's gonna give in the API Explorer. Okay. And finally, a React GitHub local setup. Okay, this is something is already the community is already created the version, but again we'll see how easy way to use with the CLI and all those things. Okay. Finally, it's a question and answer session. Okay, so this is CE. So instead of getting into this PowerPoint presentation, let me directly get into the console so I can explain almost everything like whatever I discussed here. So let's get started here. So I have like two access to the same Sitecore portal. Basically, like have access like in XM Cloud, you would have seen like you have if you have multiple organization or multiple access, you can able to switch to a different search environment, right? Similar way, I have two environments right now with me, but for somehow like if you over here, it should show the other environment here, but for now there is a issue. So that's what I open in a separate tab right now. So this is one environment for me right now. And I could show you the other environment. Yeah, this is one more. Yeah, this is one more environment. So this is basically one more environment. So I have two access to different environment. So I have also have different rights basically for different environments. So so some of the things I can't show you in other environments. So I have opened two environment here. So I will show you some couple of details which is I can't able to show in other environment as well. Okay. Now let's get started with the dashboard settings. Like basically like whenever we want to create any document to be indexed, right? First of all, our ultimate job is to create the fields. Like we need to properly define the fields. What are the fields which need to be stored? Also, we need to like say for an example in Covio index or such, in any different index, we will be having a lot of fields where you will be populating the necessary data, right? Similar way, it's not out of the box here we need to create manually all those fields, and based on the fields we need to grab the content and we need to inject the content over these fields. So that is where the so it was search, there's a section called um, domain settings. From here we can able to configure all the necessary parameters which we need to configure in our Sitecore search portal. Okay, so example, like if you want to have to crawl information from API or any sitemap, so that requires a parameter called destination or designation or whatever is it, right? So if you want to add those information to the Sitecore search, we need to show the parameter over here. So its parameter creation is very straightforward. Like we can just go ahead and create it here, and we can have, okay, by default we have the content entity. So again, but in Sitecore search we can create multiple entity, but out of the box most of the Sitecore search environment will come up with only one entity, which is content entity. But it's easy for us to create multiple entities as well. Like if you go here, you can click here and you can add whatever the entities we want. So because basically if you want to create like a product informations, right, you can directly go ahead and create a product entity. So you could see like there's a different attributes is already getting changed here, right? Okay, so which is out of the box predefined parameters or fields, whatever you can say, which is used here. But again, we can customize it based on that one as well. So let me leave it with the content entity as well. So almost all my fields can be created here in content entity, and it could support like multiple fields, data types as well, string, arrays, and integer and all those composite fields as well. Okay, one important thing to be noted in respect to this thing is image URL. Okay, so say for an example, you could see the image URL is a string data type. Okay, but if you add any image, like say for an example, you want to show a thumbnail image to any of the indexed item, right? So if you want to show any thumbnail image, but if you're creating a different field instead of image underscore URL attribute, the image will never gonna show in the dashboard. Okay, so but it will able to add the URL, but image never gonna show in the dashboard. So what I mean to say is, if you go to any sources here, okay, let me quickly go here. It's taking time to load. Sorry, this is a different dashboard. Let me go to the one. So as of now, you could see this. There is an image thumbnail, right? This is basically how that is coming. That's basically coming from the image URL field. Okay, if you trying to add any field, okay, other than image URL, this image never gonna show up for us. Okay, so ultimately this field has to be from image URL field only. So say for an example, if you try to create like a organization URL or album URL or something like that, it will never gonna impact. But we can have the URL, but this URL can be used in your React JS app or some React app or some Next.js app, that where it will load properly, but the dashboard it will never going to show up. Okay, so in order, if you want the thumbnail image to be show up, try to make image URL as your field. Okay, so let me go back to the same place again. So domain settings. Yeah. Again, as I told you, like so these fields are very important. So now once you created these fields, right? So once you trying to create these fields, let me open here. Okay, so by default we have the default value. If you want to provide any default value, if say for an example, if you are not populating any value from your console, the default value will be taken care. And this is something if you mark this as a required field, when you try to add any content to this API, if it is selected as marked as required, if you're not passing any value, this will be break. Okay, so make sure you need to pass the value. Okay, so that's the required address, a kind of a validation, required validation. And basically this is written in response, basically like whether if we want this data to be written in response. So once you query for the search results, right, whether this particular attribute to be written in the response, so such kind of a properties we're going to check it here. So basically these are some of the default settings, but important thing we need to take a look at is this section, use for the features. Okay, so ultimately the purpose of search is what we need to do, searching, right, the search the site. Okay, so now we actually define the attributes, right? So we define the attribute, we index certain documents as well. Based on this, we based some of the fields got indexed. Now so where we going to use those fields, like some for say for an example, I want to use a faceted search. Okay, I want to use this field for text based searching. Okay, I will have a text box where I gonna type something and it gonna show me some results over there, right? So that is where the textual relevance will comes into picture. So textual relevance is where in Sitecore search by default they're actually giving us like a preview widget and search widget, which will have a text box over there, and we can type something and it will does the magic of doing searching. Okay, so our field has to be configured in textual relevance, then only say for an example my title, I'm making as title as my search field. Okay, if I typing anything on title, so only the value will be searched against the title field and the relevant results will be displayed. Similar like suggestion blocks. Okay, suggestion blocks also, it's a kind of a auto complete. So if I search something, suddenly there will be autocomplete list will be shown up, right? So see, that is how like from which on what field basis we gonna create the autocomplete kind of a feature. Again, ranking, personalization, like a similar way, like personalization again, like how we want to do personalization, like whether you want to provide the relevant results based on the current item or based on the user clicked or something. Again, we will be providing the field as well. Okay, based on that particular field, how many times this searched or particular field has been clicked or something has been viewed. Okay, based on that particular field. So this is something how we gonna configure the features. Okay, now we actually define these features here, right? So this is the global feature configuration for the attribute section. Now I have defined all those things here now, but the point here is I need to create a widget. So what is the purpose of widget? So widget is basically like where you in the front end you will be having a search bar, or as I told, the suggestion blocks and everything will showing up. That is usually called as a widget, and there is a different types of widgets available in Sitecore search. Okay, so some of the examples for the widget is basically like I could show you some widgets here: preview, search result, recommendation. There is couple more also available. Let me show the couple more as well to you. um, So we have a couple more here, right? So the banner and HTML block widget. So I think most of the people are using like the preview widget and search result widgets and recommendation widgets. Okay. So what is mean by preview widget inside code.com portal? So most probably like when you see sitecore.com research for. So basically, these are some of this is called a preview widget. Okay, think this one as a preview widget. Okay, where we are getting preview designs or something like that, right? So this is something a preview widget, but we also have like a banner and HTML block. So in React.js app, right? So if you want to have some common like component, okay, where we can author instead of CMS, I want to author this component from the Sitecore search itself. Okay, we can use banner widget and HTML widget to author this component. Example, I have created one sample banner component. So just want to highlight you how the banner component can be easily configured here. So this is the one banner component I just created here, which is again running in my local host, in my local environment. This where this environment is actually configured with the Sitecore search, and I'll let you know how this is easily configurable in here. So it doesn't need to bring any data from search. Basically, it's a kind of a hard-coded value where if you want any static HTML to be placed into your React app, okay, apart from the search functionality as well, okay. If you're not using CMS, this will be really helpful in terms of storing, showing the content as well from Sitecore search, okay. Okay, so I already created this one. Let me show you the component here. It's taking time. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is the banner I just created. Okay, so it's similar like other widgets like that. So you can able to create a widgets like here, add a banner widget here, and you can put a relevant information like my ban banner widget. Like you need to specify. I know like most of the people have know what is meant by RF ID. So this is the unique identifier of the widget. Basically where I need to specify this widget is. So if you want a widget to be applied on a specific page, you can mention the page. But say for this example, I'm using it for every pages across. Okay, so I'm just going to do that, and finally setting it. Okay, okay. I created the widget basically. So once I created a widget, for now, if you want to specify any rules that we can specify, I'll go to the rules later. But for now, I just want to show the widget basically. Okay, so now you could see here in the widget section, my banner component, where I see this appearance section. Okay, if you go to the appearance section, by default, Sitecore is coming up with lot of default widgets available for us. You can select any of these widgets. This actually the example which I showed before, I'm using this widget. Okay, so I just click this widget, and you could see you can configure whatever the necessary parameter you want to configure. So if for example, if the band if it is a static content, but if you want to have a dynamic URLs like different image URL. So in this example, uh, which I showed, this example is a different image. I just took it from sitecore.com, and I place this URL here. And also, if you click this shop button, it will take me to the google.com or sitecore.com. So basically, this is basically an href URL. Okay, this has already been available here. So if you want to have some different kind of a component, if you want to set up, we can be able to easily set up those information as well. Again, we have a lot of other settings out of the box these guys are providing, like you want to overlay title, image settings, pixels, everything. So we can each and every component have its own informations. Okay. Um, so example, I will show the one which I created. So banner. So once you configure this widget setting, this is how it will be. This is how it will show up. So I can show you the information I just created here. Yeah, this is how we can configure a banner component. Um, again, uh, preview comp again. If you wanna create a preview widget or search result widget, it's similar way. Like we can just create it here. But out of the box, we will be having a widget called RFK ID 77. This is by default out of the box. Sitecore is provided as the search results widget, and preview widget also is this one. So we can go ahead and still use the same thing. Only thing we need to create a page. So page is basically a container where this particular widget will be placed on top of it. Okay. So without the page, widget will not gonna work. Okay. So basically, like if your website a domain name like say for example, if your domain name is something like this, right? Slash search, right? So that means like this particular domain plus this page, so only this particular widget will work. Okay, so that is where this page comes into picture. But in the initial screen, I actually showed you like how to define a widget, right? Where I need to have it the page level or it common across all the pages, right? So if you set common across all the page, this will work fine. If you set the particular page, okay, then this particular widget will be only applicable to the particular URL which we actually configured over there. Okay, so something like that, we need to do it. Okay, for the pages and everything. Okay, um, now let me go back to global widget configurations. Okay, so initially, the first step I showed you like how to create an attributes and how to enable the features, right, for the particular attributes. Now, as of now, we did the feature configurations for the particular attributes, but we also created the widgets right now. Okay, but I want to control somewhere globally how every widget in the CEC to be behave. Okay, so what that means, like I will be having some common settings. So every widget in the CEC should be inherit those settings and it should work properly. Okay, I don't want to go to individual widget and set these settings. Okay, so that's where the global widget configuration will comes into picture. So this is again, this is out of the box. This will be out of the box, default will be created. But only thing what we need to do is we need to go here and configure whatever is important for us. Like say for an example, I'm going to have a suggestion blocks here. Okay, which one is this? Okay, let me go to other one. Yeah. So this is an example which I have created. Say for example, right now, as I told, like whenever you created any kind of feature attributes that need to be used for our suggestions, so we can easily enable all the suggestion features over here. It's a global thing. So right now we actually, if you go here in the attributes section, more time. Let me take one example from here. It's, okay. Say for example, if you selected this one here, right? Okay, suggestion block or something. Now that particular attributes enabled for suggestion. Now this is for widget level. That is for attribute level. Now this is for widget levels. Now I'm going to say like this particular. So whenever I load this particular widget, now these two suggestions blocks will be enabled. Okay, like this are the three suggestions blocks I have created. So among that I have actually enabling these two suggestion blocks. So uh, this will be performing based on my searches and everything. Okay. Now sorting against something similar to this one. Let me go to this textual relevance. This might be helpful. Okay, so right now we discussed about I'm going to select title as my search field. Okay, so in that case I want to enable the title, like how much value I need to provide, like it will be my highest priority or its lowest priority, something like that. So here my name is highest priority, that means my name field is highest priority. So if I search anything in the text box, it will always go and search from the name field. Then if that is not there, then it will go to title field. So it's basically the ranking basically. So which field we need to target for retrieving the results basically. Okay. Um, and I'm in advanced mode, but this is basically the simple mode where we can enable or disable, and we can able to order it which one to come top one first, down or something like that. Okay. Um, again, you see this is a different type of analyzer. So analyzer is very important here. So there's a different kinds of analyzer like standard analyzer, multi-local analyzer, Syngene, ngram, a lot of different analyzers. I think for textual relevance, this multi-local standard analyzer is more than enough for us. So this will work fine, and it will do all kind of searching. Okay, so without any problem. So, and again, if you don't want this my name to be searched, just exclude it. Okay, and so that automatically this will excluded, and it will automatically take name title as your preference, and it will work fine. Also, Sitecore recommendation is do not use standard analyzer, because if you try to use standard analyzer for your searching, it's not going to work. Okay, so I tried multiple times with standard analyzer, so it's not working. So Sitecore recommended to use multi-local standard analyzer, then my search retrieving results properly. Okay. So these are all the fields you're seeing here. Everything I configured in the attribute section to use the feature of textual relevance. Okay. Again, facets also similar. Like in the same place in the attribute section, you would have enabled the feature as facets. That is where you'll be getting all the features here. And again, you can specify like which to be considered as a facet. So you can enable or disable it accordingly. And its weightage and coverage we can set up. Okay. So like that. Sorry about that. We can increase of coverage, so this will take precedence. Okay. um, so ranking, personalization is also very important here. Like this is again, we no need to do this basically, but if you want to do any personalized way of providing results to the user, like based on his visits or like more this functionality. So basically there is two types of personalization, like more like this and affinity. So like if you want to do like more like this statement, like related to the same content what we're seeing right now, or is behavior based on this clicks or some viewed, so we can configure here. Okay, so this is based attributes. So you can see like this attribute based personalization. Okay, I can click attribute based personalization here. Basically this is more like this, right? But if you can change it to affinity, so it will slightly differ compared to different this one. Okay. Sorting, um, I think in sitecore.com or any other website, if you will be you able to want to see like A to Z, some different kinds of sorting options, right? Again, we can configure this sorting option. Again, this is something I have created the sorting options here, and again I can able to enable or disable according to the requirement based on that. Again, we can create a different thing. Sorting also comes up with different option. Either it will be like a relevance based sorting, or else we can create our custom based sorting as well. So again, um, right now I created this kind of sortings, but again, it's based on our scenario, we can able to create the sortings. Okay. So now we actually configured the widgets like this. These are all the settings which the widget has to be taken care and process it, right? Need to perform. Okay. But for now, like I have created one new widget, okay, not global widget, new widget, but that widget need to override the global widget configuration. Yes, we can do that as well. Okay. So in the individual widget level configuration, so this is now the individual widget. Okay. So click on the individual widget as well. Now again, we will be having this widget settings here. Sorry, here. Sorry, give me a second. This is not the base. Keep on coming to the wrong environment. Okay, somehow it's having different. Okay, anyway, what I'm trying to say is, whatever the settings we have created in the global widget, the same settings can be changed in the widget level itself. That's what I'm trying to say. Just a second, I want to show one different widget here, which I have created. Anyway, let me go to the preview or something. Okay, you can leave it. Okay, let me talk about something now. Okay, so now let me show you this thing. Okay, basically how we gonna check this one. Okay, this is exactly I'm talking about. So it's basically the rules. Okay, so yeah. So this is exactly what I'm talking about right now. So we have configured the global widget. Okay, so but I want to override those global widget configurations. So if you click on the widget level, and you could see what variation you have created. That variation you can get into it, and we can able to customize the settings which the global widget is actually configured. So all the global widget configuration will automatically come up here. So this is all the global widget I have did it in the global settings, but I can still be able to change the widget accordingly. Okay. So that's exactly what I'm going to. So can I enable this one? I can change it accordingly here. Okay. So I have full control to do this one. Okay. I can change almost everything here. Also, I can change the personalization strategy by enabling, sorry, enabling here. Yeah. I can do this always here. So in the previous screen, we saw that the product and all those things, right? The product field. Similarly, here also I can able to change those widget settings. Again, sorting also I can go ahead and change. So this is exactly the same thing we've seen in the global widget configuration. I think we can able to do the same, modify the same settings for individual widget level configuration. Okay, so that is first thing. The second thing is basically like I have created this items, but what I need to do is I need to show only some of the contents to the user based on the search criteria, or else something I don't want to show to the user. Okay, so this some of the rules I can able to specify here. Okay, so example, I want to boost some result always at on the top. Okay, so in that case I can just create an attribute here, like, okay, say for an example, my album title is what? Album title is like Sitecore example. So whenever 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 the search result shows Sitecore, this will always in the top. Okay, irrespective of anything, even though this is coming in the last row, but it always show in the first for us. Okay, well, again, berry result is something like this will basically shown in the never gonna show. Okay, never, it's maybe in the last place. Blacklist basically again, like it will never gonna show basically. So example, I actually added one example here. Let me show you the example here. Okay, here, same place. Yeah, here. So you could see like I have created an attribute content type boost result. So I'm just saying like whenever my content type is MVP, this will always show on the top, irrespective of if I'm searching for something else as well. Okay, which acts this results. Okay, berry results. Maybe this one I can talk about, like a blacklist. Okay, what I'm trying to say, show only this MVP and horizontal digital content types and do not show any other results. Okay, any other different content type results for me. So I can bury those, blacklist those results which we never going to show in my search criteria. So this is how we can do, but still there is easy way to do this one. You can click on this one and you can do the same thing here individually, but that is basically based on the rules. But if you want to drill down to the individual content, you can able to do that as well. But again, rule based thing is very easy compared to um, doing it manually. Okay, so these are all some of the rules I have created here. So adding rule is very easy. Click the rules, so it will come to the same place, and we can play with the same options here. The last is this one, Sitecore context and visitor context. This is again uh, a kind of a rules again, we can say. Say for an example, so in particular, say for an example, we can define like my content type equal to this one, then only show this entire results details. Okay, it's kind of a filter details. So my, say for example, content is MVP, then only this will be shown. Okay, so this is a site context based and you could see all the autocomplete comes. These are all my indexed data basically, so I will get all the data here. Okay, so again, visitor based as well, we can also predefine like if the visitor is coming from a different device or something, whatever we want to configure based on our rules, we can configure those information as well. Like if this device, if the user is coming from this country, do not show. The user is coming from this region, we can show something like that. We can still gonna configure all the necessary settings here. Okay, so once all this configuration done, we need to publish it. So then only this widget will be deployed and we can use it in our application. Okay, so once this widget has been created, as I told, we will be need to create a page. Okay, this is the place where our widget will get tied with the pages. So right now the page creation is also very easy. So we can create, by default there is two pages, landing page and details page. Okay, so most probably if you have landing pages or else like if you click on anything and it will show your details, based on your scenario we can create our pages. But most of the use cases, like most of the application using only landing pages, only if there is any like article details or blog details, news details, we will be using the details page. But most of the things are standalone pages, so landing page will be mostly help us in most of the scenario. Like we can use test page, we can change this one variants, but for now it's fine. um, right now this is something initially I told you, like the domain name slash search or domain name slash something, that is basically the URL. So we need to specify on what URL this particular uh, widgets or something to be functioning, right? So basically that is where this settings will comes into picture. So I can provide a regular expression based settings or starts with mostly it's, if you want a fixed URL, let's go with demo, something like that. And I don't think that we need to do hot filter. Hot filter is further drill downing. We don't want to do hot filter here. Uh, and just verify the settings and save it. So once you have defined, I think we can able to select the widget. So which widget I want, say for an example, I have this many widgets I have with me. I can just drag and drop these widgets to here, something like that. And I think this widget has been added successfully here. And right now, when I browse this page, automatically this particular suggestion component, like whatever the widget, which will gonna show in my application, React application. Okay. Um, yeah, that's mostly about the pages. And again, we need to publish it to get this to be work. Okay. Now this is basic. This is a basic configuration of Sitecore search. The one important heart of the Sitecore search is basically sources. Okay. So this is where all our indexing appetite is satisfied. Okay, so basically this is exactly where I have created like a couple of scenario based sources. So basically sources is where, like as I initially told, it's a different kind of data, you can say, like different kind of data from different look places where we gonna consume it and we gonna index it. Okay, for consuming those data or data sources, Sitecore comes up with different source connectors. Okay, so to able to fetch those information from. So example, let me go ahead and have a source here, is so that I can show the different kinds of, okay, I can show the different kind of connector here itself. Okay, yeah. So right now you could see like the different kinds of connector, which is API push, crawler, web crawler, advanced crawler. Okay, web crawler. Okay, so basically, mainly we will be using API crawler and web crawler advanced. So this web crawler advanced will do all the job of web crawler. Okay, so what exactly web crawler advanced will do? It will crawl sources like, as I told, soap, JSON, API, RSS, sitemap. Name the sources, even Word document, PDF document. Mostly it will cover everything. Okay, API is purely, you can think it's an API crawler. It's basically for APIs. Okay, so any endpoint, any REST API endpoints or something like that, it will try to crawl. If you wanna crawl a soap endpoint, API crawler is not going to work. You need to use the web advanced crawler. Okay, if you have ASMX file or any WCF or something like that, but mostly if you want to use ASMX file, um, web advanced crawler is the best way to do it. Okay, feed crawler is again for CSV and all those things, but again, we can directly use advanced crawler as well. Okay, API push is something like, again, right now we this, if you configure everything in this tool, CEC tool, this tool will automatically grab the content from the sources and index the data here. Okay, but if you try to use API push as your source, then we need to push the information to this in sources. Okay, this will, okay, out of the box, this will never gonna hit any of those data sources and grab the data. No, it's not possible. We need to individually write any postman or sorry, any API to inject the data here. So that is how, maybe if you have some content from XM Cloud, if you have any content from any third party website or or any, sorry, any connect, Sitecore connect or anything else, you can have those, if it's providing any data, yeah, we can get those data from those CMSs or somewhere, and we can inject the data to the Sitecore search. So that is with the help of API push here. Okay, I'll show some couple of examples basically, with the different scenarios. Okay. um, so first, my scenario is like, maybe I can explain how to what all this functionality begin. So if you have created any of your web advanced crawler before or API crawler before, this is how the settings will be looks like. But for example, I will create one for now. We can provide whatever the description you want. So let me go with API crawler. So this, maybe this one setting which will be different compared to this one, like a web advanced crawler. Yep. Okay. But this is something very important to be noted. Okay, so this is the place where we'll see, like, once we run this indexing, like how many data we got indexed, and this will be written in the details. And maybe like, if you're having like incremental updates or something like that, or crawler schedules, like something here. Okay, so it will show like in when this gonna do the next uh, indexing. Okay, so something will be having all the information. Again, this is a source ID. This source ID will be very important if you're using your API push injection. We call it an injection API. So if you have this one, like, use this source ID, your data will be pushed into this source. Okay. um, it has one more settings called API crawler settings, max depth and max URL. So max depth is basically like, think an example. You have a sitemap, okay, home page and about page, and about page it also have some internal pages, right? So how many level of the pages you want to get in, level 1, level 2, level 3, how many levels we want to get in for Sitecore search to crawl the URLs. Okay, so here max depth is 2. In that case, like, it will go only 2 levels, home and about. Okay, so it will crawl home page as well as it will crawl about page. Okay, it doesn't crawl its about children page. Okay, but if you have max depth 3, it will gonna crawl about children as well. Okay, so 3 levels. Okay, max URL is again like how many URLs you want to crawl. Say for, if your website will have like 1,000 URLs, we can have 1,000 URLs. So if you have only 500 URLs, rest 500 URLs will never get crawled. Okay, so that is important about max URLs as well. Parallelism, again, we know about task and parallelism. So concurrency threads will be running so to crawl this information from. Okay. um so this is something This is something fine, like enable navigation cookie during crawling. Like this is mostly when we want to use like if you're having any language based something, like locally based something, then this can be used. But again, it's not recommended for our basic things. Um, this is again just I talked about locally, right? So basically, this is where we actually setting our local is like different language based crawlings. Okay, so right now we have only one local here, but I could configure like multiple here. You could see that I am getting a lot of multiples, but out of the box we're not able to see this information from. But so that we need to crawl this, we need to create this information here. So it is available in administration, domain settings, and we can go here and yeah, we can yeah, create our new locals here. Okay, so you can add your country and your language. So automatically once you add it and save it, automatically this will automatically show for us in there. Okay, so give me a second. So in that case, I can configure multiple locally. So there is one thing you could see right now. You could see there is no thing called local extractor here. So, but if I configure a locally button here, say for an example, like Arabic version, okay. So you could see there will be one new extractor comes. Okay, this is called locally extractor. Basically, again, um, I'm crawling a website which has content in Arabic and English version, but I want basically if I have certain extractor logic for Arabic version. So basically, this is the place where I can extract my language code, and I can uh, do the logic behind that scene. Okay, so basically this will extract the locals, like this is Arabic version, this is the English version or something, and based on that my the extraction will happening. Okay, so this is this again mostly we will be not using it one, but usually if you are in English language. But if you want to do a different content based on languages, and you want uh, then we can use this local extractor. But this is how the configuration. Once you add this locally here, automatically this locally extractor will comes into picture. Okay. Um, Next is a trigger. Trigger is a place where we actually firing an API URL. Okay, so till now we're not having any data source defined here, right? This is the place where we actually specifying. Okay, go ahead and grab the content from this particular data sources. Okay, this is the exact place we're going to show information from. Okay, so let me show a running example here. I'll go quickly. So we have less time here. Okay. So these are some of the example I have defined here. So right now when I click on triggers, by default this page will open. By default we will be having two triggers. One is JS trigger and request trigger. Okay, so end of the day all the triggers is used to have a URL to crawl the information from some sources. Okay, so request trigger is where we will be having body. Okay, if you want to grab any content from, okay, either it is from API endpoint, or it's either from maybe edge GraphQL query or anything. Okay, think of any endpoint. Okay, so in this example I'm just crawling experience edge. Okay, so like you could see, like I'm actually using XGQL token. It's token content type JSON, and you see this is exactly I'm trying it with this one. Again, we can have multiple triggers as well. Okay, we can create multiple triggers, but for if you want to crawl more URLs, yes, we can go ahead and do that. But for this scenario, yes, I want to crawl only one. This is more than enough. But again, it's possible for us to create multiple triggers at the same time as well. Okay, so it's not going to limit us. Okay, um, so once I created this information, then actually now the CEC will grab the content from from the specified link which I specified there. So now where the document extractors comes into picture. So by default, we got the results, right? But how we gonna map the results to the attributes we created in the first place, right? We created the attributes like name, description, something in the first place, right? We need to place these values into those attributes. Then only the document will be completed. If we not are able to provide this information, um, it will throw error. As I told, right, some of the fields will be required field and something not something like that, right? So all the fields which we need to configure, then only it will create a document in Sitecore CEC. Okay. So again, for now there is multiple options like for extractor type like JSON, this one JSON path, and again different extractor will have different things. Okay, like um, so now once this is done, so we need to actually try to create a logic uh, to extract the content and map the content. Okay, so this is the place where tagger comes into picture. Like if you create add extractor here, again we can create one more extractor as well, but again like for this example one extractor is more than enough, so I'm just using the same only one extractor which I created here, and with the help of this tagger function I'm going to map this information. Okay, so let me click on this mapper function here. So as you could see, this is a common function for any extractor. Okay, like extract request and response. So I in the request object, so basically this is the request object. Okay, I will get all the request information like header, URL, body, token, anything. So all the request information I can get it from here. Response is basically what response I'm getting it from the API endpoint. Okay, either API endpoint or a GraphQL endpoint or anything. Okay, so this is the response. So here you could see I'm just creating, I'm just iterating here the response object here, and you could see this is the placeholder from our Sitecore XM code, right? This is basic. So I'm just looking into Sitecore XM code here. Okay, so I'm just looking Sitecore route path placeholder and give me this placeholder. From this placeholder, okay, fine. I got the placeholder right now. Okay, now give me this component. Okay, I have one component called quick links. Okay, from the quick links, it has a lot of it's think it's a carousel component, like quick links carousel component. Okay, now I'm just looping through the in this carousel component here, and this is exactly the fields, attribute fields. Okay, this is all the attribute fields. I'm just mapping the data from this particular GraphQL JPA. Okay, so this is how we used to do. Okay, so basically this type parameter is important. Basically, there is two things is important here: ID and type. Okay, ID is a unique identifier of the document, so ID is mandatory for this kind of a JSON, this kind of API endpoints. But for a metadata of like for HTML a sitemap, I don't think so ID is necessary. But for other things, other crawling things, ID is mandatory. And for this type is very important. Say for an example, this is uniquely defined like what kind of document we are crawling. Example, if you're having Sitecore document, Sitecore.com, you will be having CDP site, like XM cloud, documentation stack, different places. Like they having different unique identifier for them. This is basically think as a unique identifier. So based on that it will be get indexed, and while querying it we can say okay, go ahead and give me this data from there. It's a kind of a facet. Okay, uh, type facet. Okay, now the data will come as layout result as my type facet. When I click that one, all the data which indexed based on this one will show it for me. Okay, this is one example for grabbing the content from layouts from experience edge. Okay, and you could see that's incremental update is enabled here. That means like uh, I can be able to push incremental updates to this particular item. Okay, the same item I can able to update it as well. Okay, that's basically incremental update. Okay, let's go into the second example, which will this is a so based example which I initially talked about. Um, so every thing will be same except the trigger part. Okay, this is exact our trigger part is different. So again, as I told, like it has like different triggers because this is advanced web advanced crawler. Okay, so this is what you could see. Initially, we saw only JS and request. Now we have RSS request, sitemap, and all those JS extract. Exactly right. So here I'm just still using the request trigger itself. So and you see this is an XML object. I have a small thing here, which is here. Yeah. So basically, this is my request. Okay. Okay. This is a API which I'm trying to browse and access the resource from. So I'm just crawling this response. So you could see like this is exactly I'm trying to see here, and you could so when I try this API and I'm giving this as my request object, language by name, right? Yeah, language minimum. Yeah. So this is my request object. Okay, so post body and request object. Now I should get this response basically. Okay, this is my response. Okay, so what I'm trying to do. Okay, I got the response. Now go ahead and index those document from. Okay, so this is my document extractor object. Okay, under document extractor, I'm just drilling into an individual function, individual node here, which is like ISO node. Okay, and say sname node, and basically it's an array. Okay, so this is an array. Okay, so it's basically an array. Okay, so it will have a lot of ISO code and um, what is the name, right? So it will have a lot of things. Okay, so if you go ahead see here, which one is this? Should be here. Okay, so again you could see like here this is a text XML. This is not a JSON. This is a text XML. So our header should be proper here, and this is my URL endpoint which I just showed you. Um, Document extractor is the same what I just showed there, and I actually using JS trigger only here. Okay, the same logic, same thing. So these are all my parameters as I discussed before. Okay, um, don't think so I have a request trigger here. Okay, fine. Let me show you the results. Basically, once I run this one, um, this is soap, right? So this is basically the soap information. So basically this is what I'm getting. So this is my code on the name. Okay, so I'm just combining both right now because I not created any separate field. So I'm just reusing the same description field and name field. So I'm just using it. Again, you see the SOAP XML content here. So I think you should see the same here as well type. Okay, yeah, you see country code plus country name. So this is basically country code from country name. So that is what it's combining together and it is showing for us there. Okay, country code and country name. So that's how it is showing here. So um, and it's, as I told, it's an array, so you will be seeing a lot of data over there. So you could see the content. So again, this time, yeah, see a lot of data here. Okay, okay. Um, Other example, I want to show the pagination. Okay, okay. So again, no, most of the thing like we actually using a site is XM cloud only for most of the scenario. Okay, again, it's the same. I actually use the same. This is basically a search query. Initially, I have a layout query here, but this is basically a search query. Let me. So this is, yeah, this one. So you could see like this is a search query, like search query. Okay, where I'm doing passing the value. So this is the initial request. Okay, I'm just passing my path from where we need to grab like different paths, template path for me to get the information from. This is a template value on the path value where I need to grab the content from. Take first type I and do the pagination. Okay, and get the value from. Okay, this is basically the request object. Rest will be the same. Okay, my document extractor is still the same. It doesn't have any change here. It's still gonna go to this response body. Okay, but you see there is a you will see like this is basically coming from search. So here is the details, because my the request object has the details as my alias name. Okay, so in Sitecore in Edge GraphQL query, we can create an alias name. So I created alias name as details as my whole thing. From there, I'm actually grabbing all my information like its end cursor and everything. Okay, so end cursor is basically where we doing our pagination. Okay, so this is very important for us. But again, for this example, I just added the end cursor here. So for us to see, we are actually different cursor for a different thing. Okay, and again you will have the same name and URL and something like that. So some common fields, I'm just grabbing it here and there. Okay, that's a document. So main thing is I just want to talk about this thing. Basically this is very important. So now we actually having a document cursor, right? But point here is ultimately we want to do pagination. That's exactly we want to do it. So I don't know how to make this bigger. Anyway, so I think if you're able to see this place here, okay, so I'm actually having the same query here in the document text is okay. Request extractor is basically like it does the pagination, does the pagination, okay. That means it will create one more URL. It will try to create one more URL, and that URL will be again crawled. by the trigger object, and the data will be again crawled by the document extractor. Okay, so what that means, first time when the document when first time when the trigger when we have a trigger URL, the trigger URL will be crawled and the document extractor will be extract the data, and the data from the data a new URL will be created for pagination, and again that will pass to request trigger and does the trigger job. Again the document extractor will get the data from that one. So it's going to the loop kind of a thing unless we get all the data will be completed. Okay, so this example, as you could see, like I have you can't make this bigger. Okay, so same example, like I'm looking for a page info, like whether it has a next page, yeah, then fine, it has end cursor, yeah. Then what I'm trying to do, you see, as I told initially, like I can get all the information from the request body, right? So I getting the method. See here, if you recall my how the trigger object created, like where I will be using my body, my header, my API URL, everything there. Right? I'm trying to create the same thing here. This is exactly the place I'm recreating the URL with for the pagination here. I'll be creating the headers URL, and this every headers will be all automatically coming from my request object. And here again, I will be creating the query here. Again, you see here, this is the place where I'm creating the cursor object. Okay, cursor. This we know for experience edge cursor, we'll be having this. If you pass this end cursor, automatically the pagination will does, right? So I'm just pausing it here. Automatically, my pagination works fine. Okay, that is a this pagination for this thing will work. Okay, so I have this item page extractor. Okay. This is a normal extractor. Say for an example, like you we know if you're not using any Sitecore like GraphQL search API, but I'm using item API for doing search. Okay, example, if you see the request trigger here, this is a normal query, right? Item query, right? This is a normal item query, right? It's just an item query. I'm just looking the path and name children or something like that. Okay, but point here is uh, the logic remains the same. But again, on top of it, I just want to use a document extractor here. Same here, no change. I'm just going to the individual body data item. Again, it's item query. So I'm just going to items and looking for all the children's here. And from the children's, I'm getting all the immediate children's, like all the items from the children. I'm just having it here. Okay, now I want to do the pagination on top of it. Okay, like you know the children, but I want to check the children's of children as well. Okay, like all dissonance in that case. So again, now the request extractor will comes into picture. Now we go to request extractor. It's again still the same. Okay, I didn't do much thing here. Okay, now as you could see here, I'm just creating one more JSON body here. Okay, this body basically now I will be having a new path. This is e.path. What is meant by e.path basically, right? It's because our query is actually getting the value from its children. Okay, so if you could see here, we are getting the value from the children. Okay, right? I'm passing the path here. I'm passing the path here. Okay, I'm passing the language. From there, I'm just getting a data from the children. So in that case, if I pass a path as my variable parameter, from that particular path, it will grab all the children's. Okay, it will be recursive again and again, right? So because as I told, this request extractor will grab the latest data from the document extractor's URL, and this will create a new URL, and it will pass the URL to request trigger, and again this process will continue until we'll get all the index documents. Okay, this is how this will be. Is time checking. Okay, that is one last thing I just want to show. Okay, this is so right now we talked about triggers, right? We have multiple triggers, right? But again, we never talked about JS triggers here, right? So what is the purpose of JS trigger? Okay, now initially if you could see, like in request trigger, I have created the body, and I know the standard URL, everything. What is the URL where you need to grab the content from? But again, in for pagination, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create a request extractor, right? But I don't want to use request extractor, but I know this particular URL has pagination. Okay, in that case, see this thing, this example. This example is very easy. So example you see here. Okay, this is the extractor. I know this particular URL is page dated. Okay, that means if you see this one, 0 to 10, 10 to 10, just take 10 records from this one. So I know this particular URL is can be paginated. So instead of going to the request extractor and doing this one, by default I'm creating the extractor here itself using JS extractor. Okay, Oh, this will create me this four URLs, this five URLs, five. Okay, this five URLs, and five times this request extractor will be grabbed the content, and the document extractor will grab the information from, and it will map the content accordingly. There, here, I'm not even using the request extractor to do the job. I'm using JS trigger to do the job here itself. So again, it depends upon the requirement. Like if you have more logic to be done, use request extractor. But if you know straightforward the URL, just like the get request, you can play here itself. Okay, so this is the easiest way to do the pagination using this request extractor. Okay, so I see there is no request extractor here, and only the document extractor will be available here, and it will grab the content here. So basically like this. Um, yeah, mostly again the last thing is like if you have any error, something like this one, right? So you see this, there is an error here. So the validation of error is quite difficult here, but again somehow we will get some information like why this error is happening, something, but we'll not get to the detailed level of exception, but somehow this will help us to understand. Okay, now I actually change the save this page, try to crawl the page, but somehow this is not working fine for me. But so that I can get this information easily, like clicking it one, and it's giving me the okay, something has happened in the server or something. Okay, I can even go to analytics and check like on what basis this failed. Okay, I don't think it's any job ran here, but okay, usually we'll be having all the information here, like this runs failed or something like that. This is how it will be happening. Maybe I need to show something different, but again, yeah, everything is running fine. Okay, right. Okay. One more thing, which is tags. Okay. If you're thinking about tags, okay, so we can create tags as well, multiple tags. If you see here, by default, we always using single tag in our application, which is the content tag, which is the content tag. But if you want to have a different document extractor for different purpose, okay, you can create a tags over here. Okay, like content tag, data tag. In the document extractor, by default, we will be having only one tag, but but once you have multiple tags, this option should show for us, and based on that we can able to play with whatever for this particular tag. Okay, uh, grab the content from this particular data source or something like that. So we can play with the tags as well, so it will be really easy. Say for an example, you are a actor or someone, so you are a movie actor or a TV actor. This is example, common example, but you will be having the same set of fields. Only difference for you is whether you are a movie actor or a TV actor, right? But rest of the thing like the your name, your like your film name or something will be same. Like the attributes will be same, but only difference is that one. So in that case, you can play with the tags. Like if you want to show the content the user with the same data, but in management perspective, if you want to show a different a tag based variation, yes, you can play with this information as well. Okay. This is basically help of tags. I think we have running out of time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, like I will show only one thing for now. Um, let me go back here. Okay, I know like most of the people are already aware of this. This is the basically search thing we initially talked about, like keyword search and all that. This is an API request. I think we can be able to instead of using this widgets directly, we can use the postman from our side. Also, we can call this information and um, so again, if you want to whitelist any of this, if you want to crawl any of your like the Sitecore search environment with some different places, like if you want to crawl some content from different places, maybe if you want to whitelist our Sitecore IPs, maybe this is a URL where you can able to whitelist our Sitecore IPs. This actually giving the URLs which we need to whitelist so that Sitecore search API can able to crawl this information easily from them. So these are some of the IPs, so we can able to crawl it again. Something we used in one place one time. I don't know, like if we have more dot, we can able to check with Sitecore on this. But again, this is the place one project we actually used this one. Um, Finally, like if you already have, if you not integrated with Sitecore search, we already have SDK available, but there is also CLI also available. Like we um, we can able to easily use a CLI. So just like that. So here is, you see, just I'm just use the HTML block compound. That's very easy. I'm just use the CLI only here manually, and it actually worked easily for me. So like this, basically, like I'm just using the CLI, creating the widgets and something like that. I'm not using SDK here. I'm just directly using the CLI. So basically, we can create all the content from CLI. So and we can able to create the widgets and all those things. So right now, if I run this one, my banner widget will be created. Um, so you see this kind of widgets, my widget, something. This kind of widgets will be created. Okay, and all the recommended functionalities will be created here. So I can quickly show it here, possible. So again, you can select anything, whatever you want, JavaScript or something. Again, this is I so initially told it's a content type, entity, content or product. I can so product, and this is where all your widgets will be selected. Okay, if you have different widgets, you can select recommendation widgets, all kind of different widgets you can select, and click any entry, and again this you can select almost everything. Again, this is purely on your side. If you want to use SDK, yes, we can play with SDK. But if you don't want SDK, you can, um, yeah, it's already created for me. But again, we can create a different name and it will be created for us as well. Yeah. Yeah, that's mostly from my side. Um, sit. Questions? Any questions?
We don't have any question right now, and I guess we are over time. So, if you guys have any question, you can reach out to us, and or you can reach out to Nelson directly on Slack. And I guess we can wrap up this session today. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We appreciate your participation and engagement in the Sitecore User Group Jaipur. Special thanks to Nelson for sharing his valuable insights with us. We hope you found this session inspiring and informative, and looking forward to see you at the next gathering of Sitecore User Group Jaipur. Thanks, Nelson. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Nelson. Thanks, everyone. Yep.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.